Good afternoon, Mr. Bazzuti. How are you today?
I'm great. Nice to see you, Mr. Moses.
Please take a seat, Mr. Bazzuti.
Thank you. Luca's fine.
Luca. How's your day been so far, Luca?
Oh, pretty good. I just had some lunch on the way here, and yeah, so...
What'd you have for lunch?
Spaghetti bolognese. You can't go wrong with Italian food, so...
Yeah, I'm more of a pizza type of guy.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
You gotta love both, I guess.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you gotta. Have you seen a lawyer before, or...?
No, this is actually my first time seeing a lawyer. So.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. I see a lot of clients, and it's obviously their first time seeing a lawyer as well.
Yeah.
So it's perfectly natural.
Okay.
My advice to you is just, remain calm, be yourself, and take your time in really, I guess, telling your story or whatever you need to tell me.
Sure.
Okay. Obviously, I've got some water right in front of you, and obviously a bowl of minties as well, which you can imagine is very popular among my clients.
Thank you.
Please help yourself at any point in time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So before we get proceedings underway today, Luca, I have an obligation to tell you about the nature of confidentiality between you as a client and myself as the lawyer.
Sure.
Okay, so basically what that means is that any information that you disclose to me today, I cannot disclose that to any other third parties outside of this firm, obviously unless I have your consent. Okay, so I will always have your consent.
I understand.
Okay, so you can have peace of mind for that. Okay. Obviously, there are some exceptions to the rule, such as if someone's life is in grave danger, or if I'm compelled by the law to do so, because after all, I am a officer to the court as well as serving you as a client. Another obligation that I do have is to inform you about costs and fees as well. So obviously, today's session is free, okay, because I'm just gathering some preliminary information, okay. But obviously, if you do choose us to represent you, obviously we'll have to discuss all the costs that are involved in due course at a further date.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense.
Are there any questions about what I've said so far?
No, I understand everything you've told me.
All right, perfect. So what brings you here today, Luca?
So 2 weeks ago, I went to the DEFCON Music Festival with my girlfriend, and what happened was that two police officers approached me, pulled me aside, and they started searching me, and they found I was in possession of drugs, and I didn't bring any drugs to the music festival. And what happened was that they brought me to a police station, did some documentation work, slept there overnight, and then I was released the next day, and my girlfriend was there to pick me up, and she admitted that she was the one that put the drugs in my pocket, and I was totally taken back from this. Like, I had no clue what was going on, but I understand why she did it. She's in her final year of university, and she doesn't want to jeopardize her studies and potential full-time work for this small, possession of drug case. So I want to give back, well, not really give back to her. Like, I want to, thank her for everything that she's done. She's always been supportive of me. Like, I rely on her on financial support, because her family is very wealthy. So I want to be able to not put her in a situation that it would affect her immediately or anything. So I want to plead guilty to this possession of drugs and, leave her out of any of this situation because I don't want it to be involved with her. I want to plead guilty because I was the one with the drugs in my pocket, so I want to be responsible for this.
Okay. All right, well, that was a very detailed account.
Yeah.
So basically what I'm going to do now, Luca, I'm just going to ask you just a couple of questions just to fill in a bit of gaps.
Sure.
Okay? Just so I can get into the nitty-gritty, if you like.
Okay.
Okay, so basically you told me that you'd been together for some while.
Yeah.
Okay, so roughly how long would that be about?
We've been together for about 1.5 years, and it just, for 1.5 years, I wouldn't have thought at all that she would have drugs in her possession. Like, she doesn't drink, she doesn't smoke, she doesn't do any of that. She's a very responsible woman, and I respect her for that. It's just that night took me by surprise. So.
You would have, given that you didn't, know, I guess that given that she had no history, I would have been shocked as well.
Oh yeah.
So obviously you went to the music festival. it would have been a big area.
Yeah.
Was it in a park, an entertainment precinct?
Yeah, it was in a park, and it was very claustrophobic in that area. You know, there was a lot of people around. It was shoulder to shoulder, and you know, there was lots of pushing and shoving going wrong as we were jumping up and down, and you know, it was just a very, very, very claustrophobic environment.
Would have been very hot as well.
Oh yeah, with all the sweat going around and whatnot, and the amount of time that was going on. So yeah.
Yeah. So you obviously told me that there were police.
Oh yeah.
Obviously that came to search you. Roughly how many police came? You 2, 3?
Well, when they pulled me aside, there was 2 of them. But I know that when I was pulled aside, I could see a police officer every 15 metres in that area. Like, they were pulling in people one by one. And I started to get nervous what was going on. So there was a large amount of police officers in that area, so yes.
So were they like searching, were they conducting random searches?
Yeah, they were conducting random searches, but I just wouldn't have thought that they would pick me because I didn't bring any drugs there, so I felt perfectly fine. But when they pulled me aside and they found the drugs, I was like, okay, something very, very bad has gone wrong.
Yeah. So by saying pulling aside, do you mean they kind of just took you maybe just a couple of metres away, or did they take you to another area?
Yeah, they took me to another area. They took me to this disclosed area because I don't think they would have been able to conduct their search where we were because there was a lot of people around and they don't want to cause any other drama to the other people. So they put me aside to the disclosed area and they just searched me along. So they thought it would be in a suitable environment to do that.
Right. And then you mentioned that they took you to the police station.
Yeah.
Did your girlfriend accompany you to the police station?
No, she didn't accompany me to the police station, and I don't blame her. It was 2:30 in the morning, and she was very tired, and so was I. So they took me to the police station. They asked me a few questions. They got some documentations down, and then I slept there overnight, and then it just went from there.
So they just asked you some preliminary questions, like just some very basic ones?
Well, they asked me personal questions, like, you know, they asked for my name, date of birth, address, any personal references that can identify me, and just overall what happened on that night. So, yes.
And when you got released, and obviously you were given the attendance notice for court, was your girlfriend there for you in the morning when you get released?
She was the first person I saw when I opened my eyes. Like, I was like, thank God she's there to help me out in this situation because, you know, waking up in the morning and then I see her in front of the gate waiting for her to pick me up, and then she just brought me home and explained everything.
Yeah, right. Okay then. Okay, so obviously you've been together for a while. Obviously you went to a festival, very claustrophobic. You get arrested.
Yep.
They took you to a separate area. They were conducting random searches.
Yeah.
They took you to the police station. Your girlfriend didn't accompany you. You stayed overnight. She was there in the morning. You go home, and yeah, basically you got that court attendance notice.
Pretty much.
Okay. All right then. So basically, this is just all preliminary information. Okay. So I'm now going to ask you to sign a form.
Sure.
Okay. Just so I can disclose it with my fellow partners.
Okay.
Again, obviously not with any third parties unless you consent.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, no worries. Are there any other questions that you may have?
No other questions.
Or anything that you just want to get off your chest? Or
I believe I've said everything that I needed to say, and I understand everything that you have said to me, and I feel very comfortable.
All right, I'll see you out now then, Mr. Bazoo.
Thank you, Mr. Moses, for your time.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
You
You have a
take
good
care.
day.